Resources on this. Price. Your meter. I'm sure I'll need to become late. My still I couldn't do it.
Thank you. All right, let's call this meeting order of October 7th, 2025, 6 p.m. This is a study session. First agenda item up is outside agency grant presentations. Each applicant will have 5 minutes for their presentation to go ahead and talk about a brief introduction to their organization, how they deliver essential core services to the city of Yelm, the grant request amount, and how funds will be used if awarded. Council will have opportunity at the end of those 5 minutes to ask questions if you wish, and then we'll move on right to the next one. So remember, be brief, 5 minutes. We have, if you have information, if you have a presentation, go ahead and hand it up to us and we'll pass it out. Other than that, funding decisions will be finalized here in November during our biannual budget process. And yeah, let's get it started. Yelm Powerlifting, come on up. We'll have a little timer. Yeah, please stand at the podium up here. We do have a handout.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Yelm City Council, for having us out here. My name is Thomas Hokaug. I'm coach at Yelm Powerlifting, and we are the Funds for Kids powerlifting team. This is
Maddie. Jasmine.
I'm Sam. We are seeking $10,000 to help support our Yelm Powerlifting team. So I'll give you a little background on us. We are a extracurricular activity or club. We are totally volunteer led. We are only 3 years into existence. So in our first 2 years, we've gone from 7 athletes to our first competition to 65 last year. We've had 7 individual state champions. We've had a team state championship. We got 6th place at nationals, and we've had a lot of college scholarships offered to our athletes. Our mission is that we believe that every student, regardless of financial background, should have a chance to participate in a powerlifting. We aim to enhance the experience of our students, personal growth, teamwork, leadership skills, and community involvement. Thank you. Current challenges at our school is that we are in triple levy failure, and the funding has been an issue. Our weight room specifically has 3 major leaks in our roof that leak continuously during the wintertime. And we have buckets to get some water. There's a big financial strain on our parents because of the levy failure and having to provide more and more. Unlike other sports at Yelm High School, which is requires us pay to play, it's $200. We are trying to be a free club for everyone. The grant would provide crucial support to help us with uniforms, competition equipment like knee sleeves, belts, lifting equipment, and entry fees for each competition. Please join us together as we empower our youth and resilience community, and we can lift up our and join us with our mission to that. Each one of my lifters are going to give a little statement on this as well. Right? The first one is Sam. No.
So I'm Sam. I've been in a powerlifting program for 3 years. I was part of the state championship team, and I feel like I'm a captain and I should be here speaking to you guys. Powerlifting acts as a special engine for community growth by making space for a wide range of people to be included. It brings together not just many kinds of bodies, but many kinds of minds as well. More than almost any other sport, in my mind, powerlifting invites a long and meaningful look into the mirror, not just the mirror that you look into to see yourself in your form, but the mirror, not just the literal mirror It is the experience in which we tend to see ourselves for what we are and imagine what we might be able to become. And it is not just the individual experience, but the shared experience that gives us the confidence and character to go on. Thank you, guys.
I'm Jasmine. Powerlifting has helped me grow in many ways that I never thought possible. I used to hold back from stepping forward and sharing my experience, but I've discovered strength not only in my body, but also my mindset. And I have learned to push myself beyond what I have before, whether in school settings, leadership opportunities, or settings like this where I'm sharing my story. Powerlifting has shown me that growth happens when I give up on myself. Our organization plays a vital role in supporting citizens of Yelm by building resilience, confidence, and community. For me, it created a path to find courage and self-belief, and for others, it offers resources, encouragement, and hope, reminders that we all have strength.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patty. I've been lifting since about 8th grade summer, and I really fell in love with the sophomore year, which is when I joined the powerlifting team. At first, I was nervous, but the team welcomed me, and I quickly found a supportive community that has helped me through high school. Our weight room is a vital space for many of us, but it is an important addition. Like Coach said, the weekly ceiling often forces us to train around buckets, and on top of that, the meet registration fees can be very expensive, putting stress on families trying to help us compete. This grant will greatly support our team, school, and families. We are incredibly grateful for this opportunity and hope you'll consider helping us continue what we love.
Any questions?
Thank you, first of all, for your time. That was very under the 5 minutes and perfect. Thank you. And all the students, you did a really good job. Questions from council? Councilor Wood.
Just clarification, your weight room on the school campus?
Yes.
You got leaky roof, huh?
So that's the weight room that all 6 periods use throughout the day. Every kid is having to move around these buckets. We have weight racks that we have to constantly move around so that we're not damaging our equipment.
Sure.
About 350 students a day go through. So from my understanding, what I've been told, we had a new roof put on about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And then after a year, it started leaking, but the warranty that our district chose lapsed. And as far as I understand, I've tried to get clarification on this. If it's been fixed over the summertime, it has not. At least the ceiling has not been fixed. So right now, I think that they're in a negotiation with the company. I'm not really sure. I've been haven't given much information on that. Thanks.
Other questions, comments? Councilor Rice.
Just out of curiosity, because you say because of the levy failure, you are in need of funding now, but yet you also say that you get no funding from the school or the district. So I'm kind of lost on where's the funding that you've lost because of the levy, and what is it that the city's doing that's making up that funding?
Yeah. So that's a good question. Our families have now had to do pay to play for all our sports. So as an example, if you play football, basketball, and then baseball, you're going to pay $650 just to play the sports, not including anything else you're going to be doing on top of that. We are a club, and a lot of my athletes are dual athletes, so they do both sports, and to try and have them be able to pay also for football and also pay for wrestling, but also ask them to be, hey, can you also pay for this registration fee? When we went to nationals last year, it is at least $250 just to register and get everything in for nationals, and that's not including the plane trip, the hotels, and everything else. So the levy failure has not helped the money coming to us because it's a financial strain on our parents and our families.
Other questions, comments? Councilor King.
I just want to say thank you for coming and presenting. It is hard sometimes to stand right behind that podium, and each of you are very well versed, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. All righty, next up is Bounties for Families / Yelm Community Garden.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for having us. I'm Heidi Smith. I am Board Secretary of Bounty for Families, which is a Yelm-based nonprofit with a mission of cultivating a healthy community. We do that by supporting local farmers, strengthening the economy, and providing people with access to healthy food. We have 6 programs, 2 of which we're fiscal sponsors for. So we oversee the Yelm Farmers Market, the Power of Produce Kids Club at the market, the Yelm Community Garden, which was what we're here to talk about today, and Gift of Gobble, which hi Jeannie, coming right up. That's our Thanksgiving meal program. And then we're also fiscal sponsors for Day of Champions and Learners Without Limits through Yelm Community School. The Yelm Community Garden is an education and demonstration garden. And what that means is that although people are welcome to come through and take vegetables home for dinner, we do ask that they leave more for whoever comes behind them. We really use it to teach people. It's not so much to feed the community, it's to teach the community how to feed themselves. Over to you.
Thank you. So the garden provides opportunities for residents of all ages and backgrounds to grow, to pick, to learn about fresh foods. In the garden, nutritious food, and it connects people directly to the food that they eat, how it's grown. We host workshops, volunteer work parties, and youth activities. This is the Future Farmers of America. You can see on the left here, just recently, I grossly underestimated the fervor and the productivity of a group of students. But we do host workshops and volunteer work parties and youth activities in concert with groups such as that. We partner with Nisqually Tribe, Thurston County Conservation District, Washington State University Extension Office, Continues and Grub, and so many more organizations. Next slide. Dozens of residents walk through our garden each week. Many stop to ask what's growing in the garden, get excited about plants they've never seen before, things they've never seen grow before. And they also visit our seed library, and we give free seed away to the community so they can start their own gardens at home. Next slide, please. So right now, the garden relies on a 300-foot hose stretched from the community center, which creates low pressure, so it takes a lot of time to water the garden. And without efficient and adequate watering, the garden doesn't produce well, and it doesn't look as amazing as I want it to look. The hose is stretched across the pedestrian walkway in several areas over that distance, and it causes a trip hazard for people walking by, and there's skaters and children and people with mobility devices. And those folks have expressed concern and asked us to find another way to water the garden, or to choose a time to water the garden where it's not being used by the public, which is difficult to do. Next slide. So we're requesting $6,000 from the city of Yelm, and the funds would be used to establish and maintain a dedicated water source for the community garden. A dedicated water source could reduce the irrigation challenges, make the garden safer and more sustainable and more effective for serving the residents of Yelm. Next slide, please. And the community garden's already a really vibrant place for residents to learn and volunteer and grow together. And with your support, we can improve how water is provided to the garden and ensure that it thrives as a safe and accessible, sustainable resource for the entire community. We appreciate your consideration and answer any questions you may have.
Councilor Richardson.
This might be a little redundant, but I probably thought that a lot of us are thinking, being that the community garden is on the city park, correct? And maybe this is a question that will be properly asked later, but I guess when it comes to asking for water source, how does the city is this not worked out with the city? Maybe I'm asking Cody this question.
We've been working with them a little bit on this issue. We do think we have a workaround. This might be a moot point for your funding. We will, we are going to be able to fund it. Do you want to talk a little about what we've talked about, Cody?
Yeah, so, and I know the mayor's in budget talks with Stephanie about this. There's a meter on the back end that is a potable water meter that was abandoned when it used to be a kitchen up there, and they've asked to use that. We had before, a couple of garden managers ago, irrigation through their purple pipe irrigation, and there was issues with it, and the timing, and when we shut it down for events, and then their garden being able to get water. So I was trying to find a solution that would provide them water whenever they needed it. So I know the mayor is working on that end of it, and that's what we're hoping to do, is give them that potable water meter access, and then.
Well, I only ask because it seems like, it's like, municipal, but not really. But at the same time, it's almost as if the city is asking for money for itself to provide water for it. And so I'm like, whoa. I don't know, maybe that's what everybody else's mind is thinking, but mine was thinking that. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to understand a little bit more. But hopefully that helps things get figured out. I don't know.
Councilor Hess?
With the community garden, one of your key mission statements for that is to teach the community how to provide and do things most efficient and the best way. I'm just wondering, with the watering, instead of somebody standing out there with a hose, if getting a drip irrigation system that's already there, set on a timer, and you never have to worry about it again, is that something that you've looked at? And if so, what's that cost compared to what's already being thought of?
Yeah, there is an existing drip irrigation system in place. We just need a water source to connect to it. And there's not an external connection that we can make with the current hose. So there is an existing system in place, so it would be easy to connect a local source and water the garden.
I'm trying to bring the faucet closer to him, right? So I think.
And I understand that.
Other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving right along, Manuel Lutheran Church of Yelm.
Hello. Jeannie Davis, and I'm representing Giving Thanks Dinner at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. It's a program we have there to feed the community.
And when you have me advance the slide, just so everyone knows, if I'm sharing a presentation, when you have me advance the slide, there's just a slight delay. So I hit the button, it doesn't immediately pop up, just so you know.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. This is Karen Bossy, who I've dragged in from the dinner because it is Tuesday night and this is when she's doing the dinner. Okay, good. The program was established by Emmanuel Lutheran Church. It's staffed by all volunteers. Meals have been every Tuesday night. For the past 15 years, they've never missed a Tuesday. We started out, there were 40 to 50 dinners. It's now increased to approximately 100 dinners per week. These meals are free, they're hot, they're nutritious, they're presented to go since the pandemic, and they're open to all. I was almost going to say, if you're walking and breathing, we'll feed you, but actually we'll even bring it out to the car if you're not walking. So I guess if you're breathing, your heart's beating, we'll feed you. Next one. The people we serve are the community of Yelm. Less than 10% of the people, and it varies a little bit between 7, 8, 9%, 10% is highest, that are truly homeless. The remaining 90% of the people that we're feeding are made up of low-income individuals, families, people on fixed incomes, retirees, disabled, elderly, single-parent families, and I just learned a new term this week, kinship families, which are grandparents raising grandchildren. So as you can see, it's a lot of people who are in need, and this is always a hot meal for them. Emmanuel Lutheran Church donations and annual fundraisers have been the support of this program, along with Yelm Prairie Christian, thank goodness, First Baptist Church, Radio Chapel, the Yelm Food Co-op, private donations, and our turkey donators over there help us tremendously. All donations and monies for the Giving Thanks dinner go to the program. No funds are spent on administration or overhead, nothing like that. It all goes for food. We're asking you to consider a grant of $3,000 to help us cover the rising expenses for the ever-increasing cost of food to provide nourishing meals. For the growing number of people we are serving in the Yelm community, we still have all the avenues. Thank goodness their generous donations have been there to balance it, but we're struggling. We're really struggling at this point. Thank you very much for your time. Yes, sir.
Dr. Crossman.
How long would that 3,000 last you?
Well, we're going to spread it out.
So
What we do now, Well, I should perhaps have Karen. Okay, what we do now, we'll still use all the facilities that have been helping us. But this will help us to increase, we can purchase fresh fruit and vegetables. That's been a difficult thing for us. We do have canned, but even that's getting thin at times. So we're trying to be conservative.
Councilor Hess.
With this occurring every week at the same time, and you showed the numbers of who you're having come in, do you work with local agencies to help educate those that are attending that here are the services that are available, such as employment services, education services, WIC, various other ones that the county provides, as well as the state provides?
We certainly do. In fact, we have one table and we have someone there that addresses questions about that. And I have to say that the linked churches in Yelm have been really helpful to get the information out. I don't know how many of you are aware, but Yelm Prairie Christian does Thursday night dinners. We do Tuesday night dinners, and Crossroads does Saturday night dinners. So we try to tell everybody that attends ours about the other services that are available. Just one of the other off-site services that we do at our church is, I think we're the only one that we do laundry by appointment for people. So and each one of these churches do provide different essential services, but we're still all trying to feed those people that are in need.
Other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
My only other comment, Karen is amazing with the food that's brought into her. She really is.
Thank you. All right, our next one is standing room only theater.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mayor DePinto and esteemed council members. In one form or another, SRO has been a fixture in Yelm for more than 30 years, providing educational and entertaining programs for the community, bringing audiences from throughout Puget Sound area and beyond, putting up radio shows, plays, musicals, interactive gaming programs, a haunted house and escape rooms, and murder mystery dinners. Since returning to the stage after COVID, we've averaged more than 2,000 people per year at our programs. Grant funds of $12,000, which is what we've requested, will allow us to continue to grow and expand our offering to the community, helping to ensure that our dollars stay local for food, supplies, and space inside Yelm, with an eye toward establishing a permanent long-term presence at an arts, culture, and event center. Our mission is to create and maintain a thriving and growing theater presence in Yelm to entertain, enrich, and educate the community through live theater. And we thank you for your time and consideration. Questions?
Any questions, council? Some good background on it from the presentation.
We've been a nonprofit since 2015, so we're entering our 10th year here. We're in the process of putting together our haunted house that opens on Friday at Gordon's Garden Center for the next 3 weekends through Halloween. And we'll also have escape rooms. We've been without a home since the closure of the Triad in 2019 before COVID. Little did they know that COVID was going to be right around the corner. So we've had the opportunity to do some shows at the Outpost. They invited us back to our old stage there. And we've also been doing programs at other venues throughout the Squally Valley.
Great. Any other questions? Councilmember Hess?
I know one of your things that you do is provide the seminars or whatever for the not only the youth but also the young and old actors alike.
Yes.
About how often do you do that, and what's your participation?
This past year, we had our second annual educational program. We had about 40 kids between the ages of 8 and 12 participate in that, where they did a workshop for a couple of weeks during the summer. And at the end of that program, we had a free live presentation on the city stage in Yelm City Park. And we intend to continue that program and expanding it outward towards middle school and high school students as well.
Very good. Thank you very much, Steve. Moving on to our next one, Yara.
So my friends here are going to give you guys a little live demonstration of some of the things that we're going to talk about. So we are here on behalf of YER. We are a 501c3 nonprofit here in Yelm. And while we have obviously been in talking to the council before about some of the things we do, this is specifically one of the programs that we offer, robotics. Next slide. So the importance of robotics. So STEM is a term that I'm sure a lot of people have heard a lot about, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it really encompasses a wide range of things, but what they are proving now through lots and lots of research is children who are introduced to STEM education earlier and earlier are becoming more and more productive members of society as far as it teaches leadership skills. I mean, it really helps them as a team also form. So we know the benefits of sports. And then also when you have like the children that are not necessarily into the athletic portion of the sport, they can also compete in a different avenue. So our robotics team gets together, they work on, they code the robots, they build the robots, and then they compete in a series of challenges against other teams around, well, they have state and then also nationwide teams that they compete against. In First Lego League is the name of the league. And so it really teaches them teamwork, all the things that, and still also lets them be creative and flourish in an environment where it also preps them for future careers, which is excellent. So next slide, please. We currently have 2 robotics teams. Each team has 6 kids on it. So we have a total of 12 students in the robotics teams, but we have also had several more come through just our regular robotics and coding classes as well. So they will start their competitions in December. They're creating their robots. You guys can have it do any of the things that you'd. This is way cool, and this is way beyond me, guys. This is why we have other people smarter than me teach this class. So they coded this robot to do some fun things.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes, yes. So it's really neat. They have a big board, and it has to go through and interact with a series of things that are on the board based off the coding that they program it with. And so it's innovative. They have obstacles. Next slide, please. Here are some pictures of the different kids that have come through. Yard is also rapidly growing. We've seen an uptick in the amount of families that are coming through and also the amount of families coming through that need financial assistance. One of our big things is that we've never turned away a child due to their inability to pay. We do not intend to start doing so. I've also been reached out to by several other community people looking for ways to get, the robotics program was actually cut at the school level. So we were able to absorb a lot of those kids, not based on their ability to pay. Like I said, we just wanted to welcome everybody that we could and continue with their education and trying to fill that need. We've also had groups reach out for kids that are in danger of, like, their home may not be very stable, and are also asking for scholarships as well. And my husband and I are committed to providing as many scholarships as we can. Next slide, please. So what our ask is, we did ask for $20,000, but I would also like to point out to the council that we would be super appreciative for any value, frankly. The robotics kits themselves, just one kit is about $400. The brain is the expensive part, as we call it. That's the part that they actually code. We need more laptops because we have more children. We have 3 laptops for both teams to share currently. I would ideally have at minimum 3 per team. We are also in need of repurposing the space that we're in so that way we can better accommodate the larger class sizes that we're seeing. And the interest continues to just grow from there. So yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today.
Questions, comments, council? Councilor Rouse?
With the robotics, I just want to know, well, would like to know, have you reached out to like UW and some of the other higher institutes that have these things and probably even have older equipment that could be passed down?
Yes, so there's two portions to that question. Yes, I have reached out to actually Verizon is a big advocate of robotics labs around the country, which I was informed that due to the significant amount of funds being requested, we're not even invited to apply. So I am reaching out though to several companies and the answer seems to be about the same. A lot of grant avenues are drying up. But with that, unfortunately, because Lego runs this league that we're in, the kits that we have are actually going to be becoming obsolete in another year, meaning we will have to, they'll give you kind of a year of grace and then you have to update those kits in order to continue to compete. And as we know, the world of technology isn't slowing down. So I imagine that cost will be exponential. Like obviously the pieces are adaptable, like a Lego is a Lego, but there are certain pieces that you're allowed to use in this and then certain that you're not, so on and so forth. So.
Councilor Richardson?
I need to sleep with a clear conscience tonight. Can we give the kids another chance?
Oh, yeah. You guys can run it again. It also has a message on it. Coded. Take us if you missed it. It was very.
Some letters that is the
Success. Success, right? All right, there we go. We
Job, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next presenter will be the Boys and Girls Club, or excuse me, I'm sorry, the Not by Bread Alone, Yelm Prairie Christian Center.
Good evening, council members. I'm here representing the Not by Bread Alone Food Ministry, which is run through the Yelm Prairie Christian Center. As many of you know, probably that for around 10 years, we've been serving our community free meal every Thursday night. We are serving between 150 to 300 people a week now. These are about 25% homeless and 75% low income, or people that are just struggling now to make ends meet or coming in to share the meals with us, hot meals. And we serve them to go. They're allowed to stay if they want to, but we serve them to go. And then after they leave the dinner, they're allowed to go to our warehouse and pick up bags of groceries to take home to last them a couple of days. Many people struggle at the end of the month and just a couple of days, sometimes it's all they need. The reason that we're asking for $10,000, our mission is to feed our community, those that are unable to feed themselves, whether rich or poor, white or black. There's no, we don't limit it to anybody or, anybody that has a need, we give to. We have volunteers. We are completely donation-based. We receive an organization called Food Lifeline that gives us food, but we have to go pick it up. We have other grocery stores that give us rescued food. Instead of throwing away, they give it to us, but we have to pay the gas, the fuel to go pick it up, and we have drivers that volunteer tirelessly each week and unload the trucks and put the groceries up so that we can hand those out to others. We also are sharing those donations with other churches such as Emmanuel Lutheran and Crossroads, some of the other organizations in our area. We give out also emergency boxes to families in need per request. If, say, they're needing food for a couple of days to get by, from Monday through Thursday, they'll just give us a call. We'll give them a box of groceries so that they don't do without food. We have 3 or 4 drivers that drive as volunteers also, okay? And they all work tirelessly through the week, Monday through Thursday, to go pick up food, bring it back. And a warehouse director that runs the warehouse and puts everything in order. I handed out or gave y'all a packet that shows the things that our ministry is in need of. More things for the kitchen, like maybe some new ovens and cooking containers like crock pots and whatever. And because we are growing so exponentially, we just don't have the money to fund all of that. And we appreciate your consideration and helping us prepare for not only now, but for the future. Thank you. Any questions?
Councilor Richardson.
I just want to say thank you for all the work you do, Glenda.
Other questions, comments? Thank you very much. I'll show you, Joseph, for the packet. You got it. The next one is Boys and Girls Club. No, I think we're good. Yeah, that would hope it was a little small.
Mayor, council members, city staff, I'm Shelika Trevino. I'm the CEO for Boys and Girls Clubs of Thurston County. We had the opportunity to speak to you guys back in July, but today our application is related to the Yelm branch of Boys and Girls Clubs of Thurston County, which started in 2019. Since then, we've served nearly 500 youth across Yelm in partnership with Yelm Community Schools, and then of course the city Yelm and the facility. Boys and Girls Clubs of Thurston County provides before and after school programming, affordable before and after school programming for kids, teens, and families who need us. The Yelm Club in particular serves about 183, exactly 183 kids last year were served. About half of those qualify for a scholarship. At the highest end for before and after school programming, a family is going to spend $420, but half of our families are on a scholarship. And so the application for $5,000 is related to offsetting costs related to operating our Yelm Club. $221,000 is brought in through parent fees, but it costs us about $535,000 to run our Yelm branch. And so in order to keep fees low and access to before and after school program available to the families who need it, we need to keep our fees as low as possible and then offer scholarships, fee-based scholarships. And so that is what our application is about. I'd like to pass it over to our Yelm branch director, Emily Sharwark. But before I do, I want to brag a little bit about her. She is a Boys and Girls Clubs of Thurston County alumni. She started attending the Lacey Club when she was 8 years old. She was one of my club kids back when I was a branch director. And she grew up in our program, and really before and after school programs at Boys and Girls Club is intended to wrap around the family during the most crucial ages of their kids' lives while they're working for basic needs. And that's what Emily's family received at Boys and Girls Club. And who stands before you today is an incredible leader who pours into this community each and every day. And I'm so proud of her. But she is literally what we provide at Boys and Girls Club. Leaders in our community who are making the lives of others better every single day. And so we asked for $5,000. The gap is way bigger than 5,000, but there are so many valuable programs here. So we maintained a smaller ask. So I'll pass it over to Emily to provide some programmatic information about.
Like Shelika said, I attended club and I grew up, I was on a scholarship, and I truly can just say I don't know where I would have been today without the clubs. They've made it possible for me to further my education and really just wrapped around me and my family. And that's what we're trying to do here in Yelm. And we are filling any need that we see and that we can, whether that's new shoes or gas so that mom can get to work, or extra snacks to send home over the weekend. We're running specific target programs right now about career preparation, good citizenship, good character, healthy lifestyle. So our teens are learning how to cook, fast and adventure. We have a Smart Girls program that we just started where we're teaching young girls self-esteem and how to be good friends and just how to navigate the world they're living in now. Our teens are super excited to pour back into the Yelm community. So they just started a Keystone Club. That's a national program. They've already been out picking up trash, and they just walked to the library to get a library card, being up the street on the way back. We have Youth of the Year from Yelm. We've had 2 so far. And this year is the first year that we have multiple kids wanting to run for Yelm Youth of the Year. So we'll actually have a whole competition with just Yelm kids before we can take a kid to the county level, which is really exciting. Our program is growing. And we're just really excited to be able to provide whatever we can. And I'm really excited to be able to give back to Yelm in the same way that the clubs have truly rallied for me and poured into me my whole life. So.
Questions?
I'd just like to leave you guys with one other story. Emily and I were coming in hot from the club because there was a kiddo who was kind of having a crisis, and that particular kiddo is from a single parent household. Parent works full-time plus all week long and is raising 3 kids on their own. That's the type of family who really needs a Boys and Girls Club experience. And that's the type of family who can't afford to pay childcare rates that you read about. And that's why Boys and Girls Club is needed in Yelm and across Thurston County, because we close the gap for families who need to work, who need to care for their kids, and sometimes, in many cases, are doing it on their own.
Councilor Richardson.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your history, and the fact that you're in this role today is phenomenal.
Thank you so much. We appreciate being here.
Thank you very much. All right. Our next presenter is the YHS Connects Booster Club.
Hi there. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm Nicole Sloan. I am the Vice President of the YHS Booster Club. I'm honored to represent a growing group. You'll hear later on how many groups we've come to in just since August. Our mission is to provide opportunities for students to grow academically, athletically, and personally by supporting programs that connect them to each other and the Yelm community. We do this through fundraising, volunteering, and community engagement. Working to ensure that every student has access to enriching and inclusive opportunities. In our slide, thank you. I'm not a public speaker, I'm just gonna say that. In our original proposal, we requested $10,000 to help cover both National Honor Society and the season of C-team sports. While we continue assisting our sub-clubs and fundraising for athletics, we'd like to focus this particular request on the National Honor Society, a program rooted in leadership, service, and academic excellence. The National Honor Society stipend is $3,300. The advisor will track both student membership and service hours, providing measurable outcomes to clearly show how students are contributing to the school and the community. Slide. The Booster Club.
There we go.
The Booster Club has already demonstrated what's possible when we step in and step up. You can see some, I think we've
behind.
Sorry, I'm doing that slide too fast. I'll just go off what I got. Some of our goals that we have met, we've raised over 9,500 to bring back marching band. We've raised over 4,500 to cover ASB advisors that covered homecoming and prom. And we've raised just shy of 2,000 to support C-team football. On October 9th, we'll be bringing a check of 7,500 to cover choir for the shortfalls that have happened due to the levy. Slide. If we are granted the full 10,000, we will be responsible stewards with the money. With that, we will fully fund the National Honor Society, and we will help set up the next C-team season for success. Slide. We're proud of the growth we're seeing within the Booster Club. Under White HS Connects, we now have the following subclubs: choir, band, football, boys wrestling, boys soccer, girls volleyball, boys basketball. And tonight, while I'm here speaking with you, it is a monthly Booster Club meeting. So at the high school, we are bringing on jazz line, baseball, and girls wrestling. We're building a community of support that spans across all interests and programs. Me do it. All programs we support include National Society are open to every eligible student. Every student deserves the opportunity to lead, serve, and grow. When you partner with us, you're investing in a more equitable, engaged, and enriched student experience. With your support, we can ensure that the National Honor Society has a chance to thrive, while also paving a way to the future funding of sports. Your investment today ensures that tomorrow's leaders have a place to grow. Thank you for the opportunity.
Questions?
Yes.
For us?
Again, I just am curious on what would you have gotten support if the levy had passed? In other words, what is the city making up for with the levy failing?
So it is kind of a two-parter. We are switching our gears. I know when we applied for the grant, it was for the current C-team sports, and we have already successfully met those with the volleyball and the football. We are.
Elaborate on what the volleyball and the football program did for C-teams?
Yes, so I'm also actually the volleyball president of the Booster Club. And we raised our C-team coaches stipends and covered the refs and things like that so that they can participate in including more students that have the opportunity to do sports. That previous on volleyball standard, that cut 25 girls who were able to continue with the season. So they did start late because it took us a while to raise the money. For football, that was over 40 students who can now participate with football. As far as right now, we are currently running with no honor society. If we bring the district to 3,300, they will take it and negotiate so that we can bring National Honor Society back. Last year in May, we had over 25 seniors or juniors to be seniors, over 100 students total who do not get to continue this year. So over 25 seniors who cannot say that they were a National Honor Society. These students have worked really hard. They have a high academic standard that they put on themselves to reach the GPAs that they have that qualify them for the National Honor Society. And it goes just beyond the academics because it's a volunteer community service based program. So that's another thing that they really show and shine for, that we really hope we can do for those students.
Other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next presenter will be the Prairie Soccer Club.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Eric Sandquist. I've been associated with Prairie Soccer Club for a little over 20 years. Started as a parent, as a coach, and for the last 12 years, I've been the treasurer of the club. Prairie Soccer Club's a nonprofit. We've been around since the 1980s. Our members range in ages from 5 to 18. We run 2 seasons a year, in the spring and in the fall. And currently in 2025, we've had 942 registrations. Our main service is to provide a safe environment for our members to learn soccer or to further develop their skills or knowledge as they progress through their age brackets. We get to teach a game. Putting together a successful season includes placing the members on teams, acquiring fields for practices and games, coordinating practice and game schedules, ensuring the proper equipment is safe to use and replaced as needed, supplying paint and ensuring the fields are painted, supplying restrooms on the fields that are needed. There's other costs associated with it, but this is what the players see. Our members, however, learn so much more than a game. They're attaining other benefits that I think while they're playing the game, they're not even aware that they're getting, such as teamwork, sportsmanship, physical fitness, mental alertness, decision-making, accountability, and emotional stability. We're asking for $5,000. The grant would be for securing fields for one season. They're running $3,500 this year. Hopefully it stays the same next year. That's what we're going off of. $600 would help replace some equipment. And then $900 set aside for scholarships, because we don't like to tell anybody, no, they can't play soccer because they can't afford to. We kept it short and sweet, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to Raise for Rowan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. My name is Beth Nygaard. I'm the Executive Director for Race for Rowan. We are a nonprofit, and we're actually located in Yelm's sister town of Tenino, Washington. Our mission is to provide financial assistance and emotional support to families struggling with the loss of a child. It's our top priority and our passion that families feel very seen and supported and remembered while going through this terrible time. We're requesting funding of $4,000. With this money, we would purchase a nonprofit CRM, donor management, and event software. This would strengthen our communication and our outreach and our funding efforts. This investment would allow us to acquire and efficiently run an all-in-one system instead of bouncing between several systems. We'd be able to migrate existing donor information and client data from an outdated platform to this one all-in-one system specific to nonprofits. And with that, we'd be able to train our staff, which is just small. It's just 2 of us, but it would help us train our large number of volunteers to help us efficiently and effectively run our fundraising campaigns. The software also integrates with other platforms, so it would really help us better engage with these grieving families, with donors, and with volunteers. With this system in place, our goal is to increase our outreach to Yelm families by 25% in the first year. We want to improve donor retention by 15%. We want to boost fundraising revenue by 20%. And all of those things would help us expand our capacity to serve more families with the struggle. In Yelm, we've directly supported 6 families with financial assistance and emotional support. It doesn't sound like a lot, but where we have a big impact with Yelm is what Yelm gives our organization. There's events within the community, Breakers Ball at Halloween, there's mush ball games, and then different fundraisers with local businesses like the Dancing Needles Tattoo. We've held emotional support volunteer events like Cards and Coffee at Shiplap right here in town, and that really created space for connection and community between Race for Rowan and Yelm as well. One of our angels, Naya of Naya Strong, is a very powerful example of the love and resilience in this Yelm community, but her story also inspires us in our mission, and it helps deepen our mission as well. We did just recently support a Yelm family, the loss of their son. The family was actually referred to us by the high school principal, from what I hear. He was a student of Yelm High School, and he's remembered for his affectionate nature and boundless energy. So through Race for Rowan, his family received funeral support, and they also joined our emotional care program, which is ongoing. So today he's remembered with love. His family remains part of our community in healing. And we're also so fortunate to have an astronomical amount of volunteers that come from Yelm, which is awesome. They help us assemble care packages. They write birthday cards to our angel families. They offer support at our fundraising events, and they just extend compassion to our angel families in so many ways. So the funding for a nonprofit software would help us better organize and mobilize all these efforts, ensuring that every act of compassion reaches these families when they need it the most. We'll use this existing software's built-in analytics to monitor the number of families we serve, the frequency and quality of follow-up communications, donor engagement and fundraising metrics, and we'll also collect just organic feedback with friends, family, and donors in these angel families as we work with them throughout the year. Our request aligns with the city's funding criteria by directly benefiting Yelm's residents, by demonstrating measurable outcomes, by leveraging other funding sources like donors, grants, and fundraising events. And we're committed to inclusive, non-discriminatory service delivery of our offerings, which that's already in place and will continue to be. So we're just grateful for the city and Yelm's partnership with us over as neighbors in Tenino. And I thank you for inviting us here tonight so you can learn about our organization.
Questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity. We have anyone from Habitat? Moving on to Yelm Dollars for Scholars.
Guys, thank you for having us and for this opportunity. And I'm also truly humbled to be in the presence of some great organizations in the Yelm community that I didn't know about. So thank you for all of your hard work and services that you provide to Yelm residents. My name is Michelle. I'm a volunteer with Yelm Dollars for Scholars. We are a locally based volunteer-driven nonprofit that provides scholarships for Yelm High School, Yelm Extension School seniors, and also we've now extended to homeschooled families as well. It was founded by Bob and Kathy Wool back in 1960. The first scholarships that were given out were $100 a piece, which is like now. So I don't know if word on the street, college is expensive. This organization makes college a reality. College is not in reach for a lot of the students that we work with. So this kind of makes college a reality. Thank you. So going left to right, this is kind of how the scholarship process works. It's 100% merit-based. So on the green on the left are some of the expectations or things that we evaluate for students who apply. All students who apply are awarded something, whether it's trade school, 2-year school, 4-year school. But what you see on the left really kind of engages our youth to become more invested in our community. And also memorials and wills are not on there either. We've had some of our donors or some of our students who have come back and asked in lieu of flowers, please donate to Yelm Dollars for Scholars. That's another thing that, on the left. And we have class competitions that we just started this year for competing graduating classes of Yelm High School to donate. But it really encourages community engagement, involvement. Some of our recipients come back to donate or help with the auction each year, where you come to create their own scholarships or work for Yelm schools or any other organization, Yelm. Then moving to the right, this is kind of our process of our selection process. So students complete an application, they do an interview, they share with us all the great things they're doing in the community and why they're worthy of a scholarship of our organization. This part is all completely anonymous. Because Yelm is a small community, so we want to make sure it's fair. And then moving to the right, once we kind of put all those things together, the green and the blue, we are, then we give out scholarships at the end of the year in June. Last year, we were able to give out just a little more than $155,000 to 116 Yelm High School Extension School students and homeschool students. We also now have a transition scholarship. So students who are working toward like independent living goals, maybe not a 2-year or 4-year school, but who are getting services through Division of Vocational Rehab or Developmental Disabilities Administration who need equipment or whatever to live as independently as possible. And then we have eligible homeschoolers as well. Next slide, please. So I ate my Wheaties this morning. I filled this out. $40,000 is after listening to all of this, I feel terribly. All the great things you guys do. Shoot for the moon and land among the stars was my hope there. But $5,000 would award 5 scholarships to 5 graduating seniors. So that would be a much more reasonable amount. We're really grateful for any amount that you're able to provide. The funds will be used to hopefully make college attainable for some students who may not have the financial means. Class of 2026, we have a total of 439 seniors between the extension school and the high school that we're trying to provide some level of financial support through community donations, and we do an auction in March. And like I said, we give something to every single applicant. Last year, we were able to raise $155,000 and award 116 scholarships to the class of 2025. Next slide. That's okay. Thank you. So again, we are a merit-based scholarship organization. We partner with, it's all local Yelm community schools as well as businesses, churches, the Nisqually tribe, and the Chamber of Commerce helps with us with some advertisement. We meet monthly. It's open to the public. We fill out an application for the tribe each year through the Nisqually Charitable Fund. We have a pumpkin patch that 100% of the proceeds go to our graduating seniors located at Crossroads. Taste of the Prairie, some of you may have been familiar with that. Local restaurants in Yelm give a percentage of their profit one night to Yelm Dollars for Scholars. And then we also have an auction in March that's open to the public. And then in the spring, we award our scholarships, and we also have some staff members through Yelm School on their paycheck. So and this is just kind of more information about how to get a hold of us, how to get involved. And we would really appreciate any support you're providing. Like I said, I'm truly humbled by everybody that's here and all the great things they do. But so we'd be really grateful for anything.
Any questions, Councilor Hess?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, with the fact that you stated that you try to give to everybody who applies, looking at only 25% of students are applying and thinking that they can get into college, or did you have to turn anybody away in the past couple of years? I'm just kind of curious because it seems odd that the graduating class, I would hope more than 25% are continuing their education somewhere.
So the money goes directly to the educational institution. So you have to be enrolled, and then the educational institution reaches out to us, says, here's the money that's been awarded to the student, and we give it directly to the financial institution. So if the student goes there and then has to drop out, or for whatever reason is not able to continue their education, that goes back into the general fund that is then available for the next graduating class. So does that answer your question?
Well, it explains the process, but I was just wondering why more students are not applying for the scholarships. I'm just kind of curious on that, because I mean, South Puget Sound Community College, $1,000 would, take care of at least a full year almost, if not more. And so I'm just wondering why more students are not. Is that because our students are not able to qualify for college or trade school or union school? Or is it because the advertisement's not out there as much as it could be?
I think you hit on a couple of key points already. We are pretty cut and dry in terms of deadlines. Like you have to meet the eligibility criteria for the scholarship you're applying for. We have to have, transcripts so that we know, everything's legit. Some students miss deadlines. Some students don't show up for interviews. We do our best. We have a college and career readiness center at the high school that sends out email blasts and tries to give out as much information as possible. But inevitably, sometimes kids just don't meet the deadlines, and that's heartbreaking to us. But
no, I appreciate that answer. Thank you.
Councilor Johnson.
Do trade schools qualify?
Yes.
union, trade schools, any 2-year, 4-year school. Like I said, we have the transition scholarships now. So for independent living, if a student needs a device to be more independent, say they're not going to a college or university, but they need, a speech generating device or something to be able to function in the community, that money can go towards that.
Other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Our last presentation, Rebuilding Together, Thurston County.
Hi, good evening, Mayor's Council. I'm Pete Matt. I'm a board member and one of the volunteers for Rebuilding Together Thurston County. We do have a slide set here. Rebuilding Together Thurston County, I think, is kind of one of the kept secrets in Thurston County. We basically do repairs for people who can't afford to do them on their houses. Next slide. So again, we repair homes for people who can't afford to do those repairs. It's not uncommon to come into a house and find out they haven't had hot water for 2 years, leaking roofs for several years, need wheelchair ramp access, a wide variety of things. We incorporate groups to come in and help with us. In fact, the Yelm football team was volunteered to help paint a house just a few weeks ago. And it's amazing. You go into these homes and you start to interact with these folks and you really see it changes them as individuals. It really gives them hope, really lifts their spirits. It's an amazing process, just helping folks. Next slide, please. So again, we were founded, it's been around for over 20 years now. Part of the Olympia Master Builders founded it originally. It's a nonprofit here. Most of our repairs are done by skilled volunteers. We do bring in, like I say, large groups to supplement that periodically. And then for the really big jobs, roofs, major plumbing and electrical, we'll hire a contractor to do the work. Next slide, please. So our typical client here in Thurston County is a single woman, usually in her late 60s or older, owns a manufactured or older home. There are all kinds of repairs due to years of deferred maintenance. They're relying on Social Security, and I mean minimal Social Security. Often have a disability, very little family support network, and not too uncommon for them to be a veteran or a widow of a veteran. Next slide. So we do like I say, wide variety of repairs. Accessibility is certainly one of the higher priority items we do. It's not uncommon, like I say, for folks to come home and from surgery or some accident that's happened and they need a wheelchair ramp. We also install grab bars, high profile toilets, and either free accessible bathtub or a change bathtub out for a shower. Next slide. We also do a lot of safety work, install smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, update their outlets in typically in the bathrooms, kitchens, improve lighting, and we'll install handrails. So a lot of folks need handrails. Water damage is probably the most common problem you see out there. Especially with a mobile home, they have these particle board floors, and if they have any kind of a leak, it can just do tremendous damage to the floor. So I don't know how many bathrooms I've personally ripped out and fixed up. Bathroom repair, if you were to hire a contractor, could easily cost $10,000 or $50,000 minimal. And so we do a lot of that. We'll also, like I say, hire contractors to do roofs when we have enough money through grants, siding, and window replacement as well. Next slide. And we do things that a lot of this type of work is done by groups where you come in, maybe they're not highly skilled, but they can do painting, they can do yard cleanup. a lot of these folks, you know, they haven't been able to get out and maintain their yard. There's blackberries higher than I can reach, you know, and, or their access, their deck steps are falling apart. So this was a project, that we did in Olympia where, Home Depot donated the materials and the patio set to help us create an accessible patio for this particular individual. Next slide. So our last year you gave us $5,000 and we were able to help 5 Yelm residents with that money. We're asking for 8,000 this year. It's flexible, whatever you can afford, we'll adjust and figure out who we can help. But that would probably give us 3 to 5 Yelm residents ability to live in a safe and healthy home. Again, these are not going to be, this isn't going to replace a roof. A roof could cost, you know, 15 or 20 grand or 30 grand even. But this will help with, you know, fixing water damage, improving accessibility. A wheelchair ramp might cost, you know, $1,000, $1,500 depending on the home. So those are the kinds of things we can do with this money. And we can match it with other money that we're getting to try and fix other things within their home. So last slide. So again, thanks for your time. This is a story of Brenda, who's a 65-year-old disabled female living in Yelm that we helped last year with the money you gave us. Fixed her range hood, repaired a roof leak. But probably the most important thing is we gave her a wheelchair ramp. And she said that literally she had to slide up and down her steps on her bottom in order to get in and out of her house. And a wheelchair ramp made all the difference in the world for her. So it's not uncommon. These are the kinds of stories you see out there. I can't tell you, you know, as a council member at one point and mayor of Tumwater, I didn't really appreciate the depth of poverty in our community, and it is there. You're hearing about it today, this evening. Folks are living on minimal Social Security. They're in a mobile home park. You know, they might be getting $1,200, $1,500 at the very most for Social Security. The rent in these mobile home parks, you know, they're being bought up by investment corporations. They're easily paying $700, $800 or more a month. Frankly, I don't know how they survive. You know, if the hot water heater breaks, they can't afford to fix it. They'll go without hot water, literally. You know, or if the stove doesn't work, they just won't cook food. You know, it's unbelievable what's going on out there. So this organization is something I became interested in as a council member, and I've since become very involved out there working on houses with other folks. It's a lot of fun. You learn things, but most importantly, it really help people that really need help. So keep them in their homes. That's our goal. So anything you can do would be helpful. Thank you.
Questions? Councilor Crossman?
Remind me correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the state pass a law a year or so ago that when you hire contractors, you have to pay prevailing wage out?
Yeah, so
dollars don't go as far.
depends on where the money's coming from. So if we can get a private foundation or, you know, private money, or how you stipulate it, really, your money, you can, if it's general fund money, you can stipulate whether you want us to do that. The federal grant money has to pay prevailing wage, and that easily increases the cost of
Does the city funding have to pay prevailing wage then?
No, I don't think so. Some of our grants through cities are not prevailing wage. So you'd have to check with your legal counsel. But if it's general fund money, it's not pass through federal money. I'm pretty sure you have the flexibility to specify whatever conditions you want to put on that. Yeah, and that can easily increase the price of a. We bid a roof, cost I think $8,000 or $9,000. We then found out we had to do prevailing wage. Contractor came back and said, "Well, that'll be $50." That just shows you what it can do.
Yeah. I know about that.
Other questions, comments? Thank you very much, Pete.
Thanks for your time. I've got a little flyer about us. If you're interested in volunteering, give me a call. We'd be happy to have you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone who stuck around too for your presentations and Thank you. And staying for till the very end, council, this is your opportunity to go ahead and have some input on how we delve out this money. Is there any comments towards priorities? Anything at all? Councilor Richardson.
I don't want to have to say anything, but it seems like a lot of this is the result of levy failure. In a way, as far as the disease out there. We have a lot of people from the robotics to sports and even the soccer team, they have to pay to use the facility. And so we have to take a moment and step back and reflect and think about how important it is when we think about levy and when we think about schools, because right now we're seeing a result of the fact that the levy didn't pass. And so a lot of this seems to be a result of that. And what's cool about this, here's the cool thing, is I noticed that a lot of people are working together with local churches to find solutions in this. And that's been remarkable. So I didn't want to have to say that, but it seems like that's kind of the truth. So that's all I need to say there. It seems like a lot of this is kind of a result of the levy failure.
Other comments? Councilor Hess.
For me, it's, I appreciate all the organizations. I agree with Councilmember Richardson about how it appears that levy failure has hurt a lot of organizations. The past couple of years that I've been on council, when we've done these, we were lucky if we got five organizations to come forward and ask. This is a lot that we've had come forward this year, and one of the concerns I have is I would love to be able to fund as many of these as possible, but we also, how can we guarantee that what's funded is actually for the Yelm residents and not the Yelm 98597? Because this is their tax dollars. This is their money that's going into play. And that's one of the things I'm just wondering, how can we go about getting that feedback so we can make sure that we are being good stewards with the money given to us by the Yelm residents? That's just one of my little concerns that I have, just because of how much is being asked for at this time. We really, we're lucky as a city to be, for Thurston County, I think the only city that's in the black. The only municipality of Thurston County that's in the black. That's because we've been really good stewards. And I want to make sure that we can continue to be that way. And, as we're going through a government shutdown and you're starting to hear there's going to be a lot, financial crisis is going to be a big issue in the future. And I just want to make sure that when we are doing something with the tax dollars, that it's for those here in Yelm, and that the tax dollars that they're paying for is there as well. So that's just one of my concerns, and I'm hoping that we can have some time as a council to reflect on everything that was here and be able to come back and have discussion amongst ourselves of what we're looking at, and not looking for an answer right now. So,
other comments? Councilor Crossman?
Yeah, so really appreciate all the nonprofits. I know, I guess business owners up here, we've given a lot. I've seen to a lot of these organizations out here, not everyone, I know, but it would be nice if it could. But this is probably more of a philosophical question for us, council members, especially with conversations with people. The tax dollars, that we have to give away, we take from families, businesses. And how do we as a council justify giving public funds to nonprofits, which are themselves private organizations, rather than focusing the dollars on core government functions? Not saying it's wrong, it's just like where you draw that line. Is it the best use of taxpayer dollars? I've had several people ask that question in different ways. I try to boil it down to a condensed version of that. So that's something I've been throwing around in my head and think about, because waste talent issue. How much do you do? Have you thought about that? We're taking money from Joe and giving it to Bob just because Is that right? Is it not right? How much is it okay? Have any of you had a conversation others about this? I mean, it all sounds good, like I said, because, a lot of our business in Yelm, a lot of the local businesses, the bigger ones, you don't see it as much, but I know a lot of us local guys and gals give a lot back to our community, and you guys see it, you appreciate it, and we all work together, and that's, we do it voluntarily, no one's forcing us. Whereas the other side of the coin that people have wondered is like, this is a forceful giving, it's different. So then it brings a different mindset to it. And so where do you sit with it? How do you justify?
Just quickly, I mean, that's part of all of our jobs as stewards of taxpayer money, just to divvy out where it goes, whether it's public safety, whether it's our roads, all that, we're still managing how the taxpayers of Yelm, where their dollars go to. Councilmember Hess, do you have a comment question?
I was just gonna, one of the other things that, looking at a couple of more items for the study session, one of the other things that not only do we need, as I said, we're flush in the sense that we're in the black, but we've been very successful because we've had a great team amongst the administration getting grant after grant after grant to pay for a lot of the work that we've been doing. And those grants are drying up. So some of these future plans we're looking at, we may have to dig into our own funds, because some of those things are needs that need to be done. And so that's why I would just ask for the council, when you're thinking of everything, we need to be aware of the future as well, not just 1 year, but 5 years and 10 years out as well, how it's going to affect us.
Absolutely. Other questions, comments? Councilor Kingheiser.
Well, these are really good food for thoughts and thoughts that have been going through our minds really since reviewing these. And I really appreciate all of your presentations. It's hard to ask for money, right? Like, it's hard to talk about money sometimes. Goodness, been neat, almost, 2 years serving on the council, digging into the different criteria forms you all had to read that through. And so there's criteria that we're contemplating, and it's hard. None of these decisions are taken lightly, and we don't have to make a decision tonight, right? That's a lot of really good information, and I'm really proud to be living in this community with all of these things available.
Councilor Richardson.
It's not fun being in need. Teaches you some things, brings humility. The best part about being in need is we become creative. We become innovative. We find new ways to make things work because we might be lacking something. But then if we always remember that maybe we don't lack, and as a community we come together, there's always a solution. So that's the best part about being in need, is the innovation and the creativity that comes when you are in a tough spot. So maybe we can look at that as well, because I know right now I'm just, oh, this is horrible. But at the same time, when you need something and you desperately need it, sometimes you become creative.
Anything else before we move on? Again, thank you for everyone that presented here. All your organizations do wonderful things for our community. Council, myself, thank you for all that you do for us in this community. Alrighty, moving on to fuller footpath discussion. We'll wait for a second. Shuffle now.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, for coming.
Oh, you got sidewalks?
That's what I was about to ask. You have person?
Yeah, why don't we take a few minutes, get back by 7:25, 3-minute quick break.
No, that is. Church is coming.
Unmuting now, video's back on. All right. Cody, you're gonna talk to us about the polar footpath.
Yep, polar footpath.
Requested by council.
In front of you, I did hand out a sheet. This won't be on the screen. This is just for you to see the numbers. I'll go through some of this. 4 slides. If you can't present it in 4 slides, why are you presenting it at all? What I always say. I teach my students. Go ahead and hit the next slide.
So that's 1, this is 2.
There you go. No, this cover page doesn't count as a slide.
You share.
And neither does a question. Yeah, no.
The 6.
So on the screen, you'll see these are some, so we have the thing going on with Polar Footpath right now is we have the designs done, right of ways acquired, it's ready to go to construction. The problem we ran into is there's a lot of things in Fund 316, which is in front of you, and I'll break that down in a second, so don't worry about calculating now. If you're doing the math, the revenue is $2,572,000, and the expenses are $759,000 for a difference of $1.8 million if you're doing the math right now. So I just want to explain that there's a lot of things we got to do out of 316, and there's only so much funds we have currently. Not to say that we're not going to have those funds eventually, but there's only so many funds we have currently. So these are the expenses that are happening in the next 2 years. There is one project that's not on there because it's kind of combined with the memorial, which is a Mill Road realignment. And that one it's going to be kind of different. So I didn't put it up here as an expense and it's not planned for, but we'll figure out how it's going to work and I'll let you know about it later. But Longmire intersection, so Longmire and 510 is a road we need to improve. That's right next to Gigi's Quilts, El Rey Burrow. It most likely needs to be a roundabout. So we've already kind of done a conceptual design and what's called an intersection control evaluation of that intersection to see what kind of things we could build there. So a roundabout is probably what will go there. It could be a light. So that's something we need to do. The reason why that one is popping up now is because all the development that takes place in Toma Boulevard impacts that intersection at Longmire. And then we have to make an improvement because the money they're paying in is paying for that light improvement or that intersection improvement. So as development comes in, they pay impact fees. Those impact fees go towards improvements that help roads that they're impacting. 507 Bald Hill Roundabout, as you know, we're currently in design of that. It's a WASDOT project. We don't have any current expenses in that, but there is the thought that there could be some pullback on the Morris Road part of that roundabout. In terms of right now, the state's looks like they're going to fund the Morris Road roundabout, but I'm not sure of anything the state's going to do anymore. So I want to make sure we have money in case they pull out some money that we can still build a roundabout because we do not want to build the Bald Hill roundabout without building the Morris Road roundabout. So having money there is something we want to worry about. Roten Road is another one that we're working on right now. We currently have grant funding for the entire design, and we've been told that we will have money for the construction. But again, with federal and state money, I'm not sure of anything. So I want to make sure there's money there in case we need to supplement or match some of that with Roten Road. Middle Road Sidewalk is another project that has been high on our priority list.
Stephanie, do you have a question?
Yes, you're going really super fast.
Yes.
Love that. However, could you slow down just a tiny little bit for those that GPS is not so strong? Road
Yes.
is right past Public Works, right?
Yes. So is off first. Let me all back. So Longmire intersection next to Gigi Quilts, El Rey Burrow off of 510. The new El Rey Burrow, not the old one. 507 Bald Hill Roundabout is what we used to call 501. It is now 4 corners, and then we have a Morris Road roundabout.
Yeah, say that because what about 4 corners then?
Yeah, it is 4.5 corners. We'll call it 4.5. Then we have a Morris Road connects to Bald Hill Road right in front of AMPM and Emerald Car Care now, formerly J&I, if you want history lessons. And then that will be a roundabout as well. The state is funding that project, both of those, but with the state budget the way it is, I want to make sure that project still happens. And so conserving money for that's important. Roten Road, if you just go straight down First Ave, all the way down, it turns into Roten Road, right past NP Road, where Yelm Creek is, and also our trailhead, city trailhead parking. And Roten Road will connect to the loop, which makes it really, really important. So as the loop gets built, Roten Road will be your main way for trucks, cars, everything to come into town. So right now they come off the loop and go Collins, next to Cherry Meadows, and they come down that to Coates Road, and then they go past the middle school. They won't do that anymore. You'll come down Roten Road because it's a straight shot into town. versus going down the other road. So Roten Road being improved ahead of time was something that the administration and the council wanted to do before the loop came in, is get it improved. Yes.
I just thought Stephanie was being unreasonable at first, but actually when I heard that the second time, that was about 80% better for me to receive. So thank you.
Yeah, you're good. And I'll talk about these. This is just giving you the expenses. I'm still going to talk more about each of these. I just want to give you a breakdown of what we're, like the money we have to spend and what we're spending on over the next 2 years. Middle Road Sidewalk is a road that is near Fort Stevens. It connects to Railway. Thank you. Speaking, maybe you live over there. It is right next to where Shell Meadows just came in, the new development that came off of also NP and Roten Road. It's off the side of that, but there's no sidewalk connection from that new development or the school to the trail or any other sidewalk. So Fort Stevens is kind of a dead end. You get into Fort Stevens, you can't get out on a sidewalk anywhere. So Middle Road Sidewalk is our next priority sidewalk. We just did Solberg by McDonald's. Middle Road is the next priority sidewalk to bring it to connect to Roten Road. So it'll connect a railway to Roten Road, and it'll be just a sidewalk you can connect all the way down. Councilmember Wood.
I'm just curious because you're making it really stressing on how important it is for us to connect these sidewalks.
Correct.
We have connected sidewalks.
Correct.
What's the name of your neighborhood back there
My
that
neighborhood,
you live in?
Parkview Blue.
Parkview, and then beyond that, do you know what that one's called?
Isn't that your neighborhood?
No, I'm on the Mosman here, but it does reference my neighborhood as well.
The 3rd Street.
I'm curious, how come this hasn't come up in a discussion? And I know we've talked about it, that it's tied into the activated alleys and the one-way roads and things like that. But what I'm curious about, because of the importance of these sidewalks connecting, we have her neighborhood as well as the neighborhood beyond that are completely sidewalked. You hit the intersection there at Mosman and 3rd Street, and there you can't go down Mosman or 3rd Street without being on the side of the road. There's no sidewalk. It's the gravel side of the road. In a lot of cases on 3rd Street, there's not even any place to walk. So I'm just curious why those have gotten, because the rest of our downtown corridor is pretty walkable. I'm just curious why we have kind of left that island out there when we could easily fix this with one block of sidewalks.
Cody, do you want to talk about developments? And
Yeah, I'll jump down 3 to Mosman. So Mosman, we applied for federal money to connect Mosman, which would connect that sidewalk. We have been told by Marilyn Strickland's office, it's in the budget that hasn't passed yet, obviously, because the government shut down. That money is in there for that budget to connect those sidewalks. So that project, once the federal budget is passed, and then hopefully soon, we will be allocated that money, which will connect Mosman, which will add the sidewalk that you're talking about that cuts off at Mosman. So that project has been a high priority on us. It's just it's a very big project, so we wanted federal money to get it. So we got almost over $1 million for Mosman to do that. So.
Well, it just seems that there's the concern because we have new developments coming in.
Correct.
And because of that, I definitely agree. We need some connectivity to our sidewalks. Why did this one manage to get kind of slipped off to the side? And I guess, we've talked about it and talked about it and talked. I've been talking about it for years.
Yep.
And it just seems like it continues to be pushed back as a priority. And it just seems like that doesn't really hold with what you're telling us.
Yeah.
Live there.
I don't think it's been pushed back. I think there's the whole area we wanted to get it, instead of just putting a sidewalk that we have to rip up when we did the road again, we wanted to do it all in one big swath. So we've been looking for money to try to do it in a big one, like we mentioned the couplets. We tied it into the couplets. We've pulled it away from the couplets and did it Mosman to 4th, so now it's a Mosman to 4th connector that we applied for money for. That's what our priority was, is trying to do it all in once instead of putting a sidewalk that we may have to rip up with a realignment or adjustment.
And I understand that. I'm just curious how we managed to get a complete other end on purchasing a chunk of the golf course and busting that all the way through. Yet this end has kind of just been stalled out. And, even though we've had the idea of running it through to 4th Street for quite some time, it just seems like it hasn't really, just hit that point and stopped. And I'm just wondering if
so just reiterate more on that is that since I've been here, obviously the Mosman connector that cut through the golf course was in progress since 2017, if you remember. And then it took 4 years to actually get the road built because it takes federal money, grant money. This project has been one of the highest priorities since 2020 when we got it in. It takes time to get money, to line things, to get approvals. We finally, now the money looks like it's coming this year, so the project should be able to start. I don't think it has been pushed off to the side. It's a bigger project than just adding a Solberg sidewalk or Middle Road sidewalk. We're not improving the road in Middle Road. We're doing some connections and bringing out, whereas Mosman, we're kind of improving that entire road.
Sure.
So
I don't, yeah, it hasn't been pushed back. It's just now the money's available and that's where we're gonna do it.
Just timeline on those two items. I don't know, did you say the timeline? So Mosman is once we get the federal money?
Correct.
Okay, so that'll be started next year or so.
Is it coming in the next slides? Or?
Yeah, so this is, I'm just talking about, because you got, council has to kind of lead where this is going, right? These are all the projects we want to do. If you gave me a $10 million check, a $20 million check, all these would be done. I would do these all next year. We don't have $20 million to spend. So it's council needing to prioritize what we're going to do. And I'm going to go through that next as we kind of lead forward. This is just the expenses currently that council has allocated for the next 2 years. In your budget, when you guys approve the budget, these are what you said, hey, work on these projects. So that's what's in our budget. So let me continue going down. Middle Road Sidewalk is our sidewalk project. We do a sidewalk project every year. So every year we move to a different area of sidewalk. That doesn't change. It's a consistent thing. We just put a different area in. We only have about $200,000 for sidewalk upgrades every year. That's how much council allocates us. So that doesn't do a huge swath of area. It gets us about 500 linear feet of sidewalk. So we try to find an area where we can do that. Solberg was a great example. Middle Road's another one where we can do about 500 linear feet of sidewalk.
Yeah, right.
Where's the Middle Road one is from what elementary school again?
Fort Stevens. Yeah, it'll connect Fort Stevens to Roten Road. A lot of those kids will walk on the side of the road right now to get to Fort Stevens, or vice versa. Kids going to the middle school walk on the side of the road to come from. Fuller Footpath, another project we have focused on. Obviously, the design is done, it's ready to go, but it is an expensive project, and we're going to talk kind of about how priority-wise council wants to do this and where we've been at. And then Mosman's the other one where I just mentioned federal money. The one-way couplets, all in all, is about a $12 to $13 million project. We applied for that much from the federal government. We only got allocated about 1.5 million, which will allow us to connect Mosman to Fourth. That's our first goal. So Fourth will be turned into a one-way street, as we've talked about multiple times, which will connect to Mosman. Mosman will then drive all the way through to Fourth, so have a connector in that back area, which is really beneficial and important. If you don't know where Mosman is, Mosman's where it goes by the golf course, cuts all the way back right here by the end of the park. It cuts through and then dead ends. And then Fourth Avenue, you look in front of it. Fourth Avenue turns into a gravel road and goes to a couple of houses, but doesn't connect. There is right of way back there to connect all of those. Okay, next slide finally. Sorry.
And sidewalks?
And sidewalks, yeah, it's a full upgrade. That's the idea of it, yes. So revenues, now we just talked about expenses. These are revenues. So we have 3 ways to get revenue to 316. 316 is your road and street fund. You have it in front of you. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that. Impact fees are one way we can get revenue. With impact fees, they can only be used to pay for projects on your STIP. So if you look at your little sheet in front of you on your STIP, if it says yes next to it, then those projects can be paid for by impact fees, with one exception. And you'll see there's one that says yes, but it says, why can't it be used for eligible for impact fees? We'll talk about that in just a second. So impact fees are one source of revenue. Impact fees come from development. When a new home is built, a new business is built, they pay an impact fee based on how many trips they generate. So if I'm building a new house, I say I'm going to generate 1 trip during peak PM time. So I'll have 1 car that will leave my house between the hours of 4 and 6. It's a generalized acceptance that a house generates that much traffic. Now, a commercial business like a Walmart comes in, they may say, we're going to generate 700 trips during 4 to 6 PM. They pay an impact fee based on that. The impact fee right now is about $4,500. So every trip you generate is $4,500 you have to pay in impact fees. That number changes every year based on what council approves in our STIP, our Transportation Improvement Plan. So that number will flex up or down based on the STIP. Those impact fees can only be used to pay for impact projects. It cannot Fuller Footpath because it is a walking path and not an actual transportation project. We cannot use transportation impact fees or STIP money on it. We can only use REIT money. So that brings us to our next thing. Real estate excise tax is our second source of revenue that we get to 316. The benefit, real estate excise tax is driven purely by selling of houses. New, old, used, whatever. Whenever a house sells, if you bought or sold a house in the last whenever, you'll see a little line that you have to pay a real estate excise tax. We get a portion of that money and it goes to 316.
What's that percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head. I can tell you from general, it's somewhere in for most houses that sell in Yelm, it's between $3,000 and $5,000. So my guess based on a $500,000 home, yeah, you're at about 1% to 2%, right? So we get a little bit of that comes to this fund along with a different fund. We're not going to talk about the other fund. It'll just confuse you. So 316 gets that. The benefit or the thing about real estate excise tax, it can only be used for new construction. Now there's a caveat to that. New construction can also be considered repaving a road. Now, not fixing a pothole, but like if you go and overlay the entire road, repave, that's new construction. On a sidewalk, that's new construction. Now I cannot go and fix a pothole or stripe a road with it, but I can repave. It's wonky. So you can kind of get around it with some pavement preservation. And then the other thing we have that comes in this fund is grants. So as you can look at your sheet, we get a lot of grants, which is awesome. It's great. The only issue is we're in the economic times right now. Grants, I'm worried about the status of grants we have currently, and if those grants are going to continue to come in or not come in. And that's just in general with everything going on in not just our state, but federally and this money in general. Everybody's kind of drying up wise. Like everybody mentioned before, the city's been very beneficial to be in the black. We're positive, but not everyone else is that way. And so other places are looking for ways to cut money. Part of that is cutting grants they've issued. So we just want to be really careful. The grants we've been promised, yes, we think we're going to get them, but that's not always the case. States can pull money, feds can pull money on certain things. So those are our three sources of revenue for this fund. Okay?
That's 316.
316, it's road and street fund. Next slide. Okay, now here's where we get into what do we do with this info. So in front of you, you'll see an entire breakdown of what council budgeted in 2025 on your left. The black and red, black is income. You guys got that in front of you. I put one on each spot, so you should have it. You don't have one extra one.
Looks like this.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So the black in front of you, people at home as well, you can't see it, but the black in front of you is the income, what we budgeted on the left side, budget 2025. The red is what we budgeted to spend in 2025. The right is where we currently sit. So if you look at current amount, that's where we currently sit. Now I want to point to a couple things. You notice we budgeted TIB and Roten for 450,000. We've gotten zero back. Well, that's because we haven't spent that money yet. It's a grant. It comes in as you spend it. The reason you'll see a difference right now with grant Roten $9,000 and Roten Road $77,000 is when we spend money, we have to apply for reimbursement. It takes time for the check to come in. When you see other things like our REIT money, we budgeted 404. We're at 227 right now. Houses in this market, I wish Terry was here because she could tell you, but houses aren't selling as fast as they have in previous years. We usually bring in somewhere between 500,000 to 700,000 in REIT money. This year we're at 227. So we're much lower than we expected this year because houses aren't selling like they used to. Yeah, it's a big drop in that, right? And we don't expect that to stay that way, but it's been a down year for house selling. If you look at impact fees, our impact fees, we transferred in 925,000. Our impact fees though are extremely high, way up from what we normally bring in because development is still coming in like crazy. So much so that next year we'll expect another $1 million in impact fees to come in, which is great, but it doesn't help the fuller footpath because we can't use impact fees on the footpath. So we can only use REIT money on the footpath, and you can see the REIT money's come in really low. If you add the current amount that we brought in beginning cash, or how much we started with, plus our REIT money, that puts us about 1.4 million, right? And fuller footpath, this year we had budget to spend about $1.2 million. We spent about 230,000. Majority of that was for right-of-way acquisition, buying parcels of land from the neighbors, along with finishing up design. We aren't spending any more money till we go to construction now for the activated alleyway. We do expect the activated alleyway with all this, undergrounding of everything, doing all the lights, making it as beautiful, to cost around $2 million, full and said and done. That leaves us with a delta, if you think about it, of almost 500, 600,000 if we spent every single dollar of money in this fund on the footpath. So we'd still be $500,000 short. And then, let me finish. And then you still run into the problem of these other projects. What if this grant for Roten Road doesn't come through? What if they pull it back? What if they pull back the 507 roundabout money where is that money going to come from? Where are we going to make it up? Yes, we can use impact fees, but we're only at 925,000. The roundabout at Morris Road, we expect to cost around $3 million. Roten Road, we expect to cost around $5 million. So there's a gap between what we need to do and what we got. Now, the question isn't if we can do these projects. We're going to be able to do them all. It's just when, right? Roten Road probably will not start construction till the end of 26, which is great. The roundabouts we expect the same time. So we have about a year to collect more money for those. but we're still gonna have a delta, and it's just being cautious with that money. If we went to and did fuller footpath right now with the money we had, we would zero ourselves out and we'd be in a crunch if we came to a transportation project that needed to be done and we needed to add money to it because a grant got pulled. So the other two things you'll see on here is sidewalk construction. Every year council budget's about 150,000. This year we did a little bit more, but we were able to build Solberg for a little bit cheaper. And then the other one is annual pavement work. So that's work in redoing roads, AKA overlay. We did a bunch of crack seal. We use that money for that crack seal on the roads. You can do stuff like that with pavement preservation. We can't just go fill a pothole with it, and we can't restripe. We have to use a different fund to restripe it because that's maintenance of the road versus upgrading or improving it. So you're looking at those numbers, just going through this. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Council needs to prioritize what we do on these projects, right? We've always been focused, we're really hyper-focused on transportation, getting people to cars quicker. So the activated alleyway has kind of fallen back because we want to build these projects that are going to move people through the city. The other thing is grant revenue. Are we sure grant revenue is going to come in? I hope so. We're counting on it. If we wait a little bit longer, every day we wait is a closer chance of knowing more about what grants we have coming in. Impact fees. Do we expect impact fees to keep coming in like they are? We do, because we see development on the horizon. So a lot of these projects might be able to fund themselves. And then up to councils, what do we prioritize? Right now, our priorities are on Morris Road Roundabout. We think that's the most important project. Second is Roten Road. Then we have, I'm not going to talk about Mosman because we already got the federal funding for that. Third is doing the Longmire intersection because of all those developments coming in is really going to impact that. We want to fix it before it becomes an issue. So those are kind of our three priorities right now, and then fuller footpath at the end of that. So that's kind of what we're as a group prioritizing. Councilmember Richardson.
I think I need a refreshment. Impact fees.
Yes.
Are those, this is a long question, impact fees, are those measured by traffic impact analysis, and who pays for those? And after who pays for those, where does that money go to?
Yeah, so TIA, you're right. A TIA is what generates you can do a traffic generation report, which says like I mentioned earlier, my business will generate 25 trips.
Yeah.
Once you do that generation report, then we assess you, okay, you're generating 25 new cars are now driving to your business.
Who pays for the TIA?
Then they pay, the developer, whoever's developing any new business pays for a TIA.
Who gets the money from that?
The city, so the TIA itself is paid, they do, a contractor does it, but when they pay the impact fee, it comes to the city.
Okay, so that impact fee again, so it's measured by traffic impact analysis, which falls on the developer to pay for.
Correct.
And that money comes back, that's where the impact fees come from?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that money comes back to us and it builds roads, upgrades. So the only way we can upgrade roads, if you look at the REIT money, the only way you can really upgrade roads is with impact fees.
Now, is that the only way impact fee money is generated, or is that the primary?
No, you can only impact fee is generated by new trips to city, which generally is a new business.
So basically, traffic impact analysis is probably the only route to make impact fees?
TIA just tells you what your impact fee is. I generated 500 trips. Cool, my impact fee is 500 times 4,500. And that's what you pay to the city.
Just trying to find out where that money comes from.
Yeah.
Councilor Crossman, go ahead.
So Rowan Roundabout end of 26, Longmire open for when to construct?
So Longmire really hinges on, there's a big development coming on Toma Boulevard called Toma Ranch. And their impact fees are about $900,000. Once they pay that impact fee, that will give us the money to do the Longmire improvement. So we are really waiting on them to kind of go, we're ready to go and pay their fees. Once they pay their fees, that'll be the extra money we need to actually do that improvement. So it's purely dependent on that development.
So you don't have a projected timeframe?
No, they could literally, they could start tomorrow. They're capable. They've done all their work. We've signed all the agreements. It's gone to council. You guys signed a development agreement with them. They could start tomorrow if they wanted. Usually projects start in the spring. They've talked about starting multiple times. So we're hoping they'll start early next year, and then those impact fees will come in next year.
Councilor Hess, Johnstone, and then Richardson. Did you want to finish up?
Yeah, if I could just, then the middle road sidewalk, do you have a date of construction for that?
Yeah, so that'll happen next year. We don't have a date next year.
Well, okay.
It'll happen in 26. We've already done the survey for the land, and we're working with PSC. They have a chunk of right of way on that corner that we have to get from them, and we're hoping they just give it to us because it's an improvement versus us having to go negotiation with PSC.
Councilor Hess.
And I always forget the term, but the example I'm going to use is the southern loop that we are considering. Because there's no development being done at this time, we would be fronting that bill. And then when developers come in, we could ask for a back payment. As I said, I can't remember what that term is again. It keeps slipping my mind. Where would, was it?
The latecomers agreement?
That is one of the things that you could call, yeah, there's latecomers agreement, there's other names of it, yes.
Oh, where in the 316 would that go?
So that's a little different because you have a bunch of master plan community up there. There would probably be some kind of, whoever develops that would probably have some agreement with us to put the road in with some kind of fee differential where we excuse some fees, they build the road. That would only happen if that MPC comes in. We wouldn't probably build that road unless we knew something was gonna happen up there. Which, yeah, that's the next thing, is where do we go from there? Yeah.
Okay, but I was just wondering, so then that will be a negotiation with the developer, not that if a road is already there and they're now tapping into everything for the 316 fund, none of that money would be collected for 316. It would go to a different fund.
No, it was still 316 is where it would go. It's
just wondering, is it an impact fee? Is it a REIT, or is it
so there would be kind of both. So it would be you'd have REIT from the houses being built, you'd have impact fees from a new home being built, but there would be a negotiation. Like if someone was building that entire road, say someone goes, I want to build that entire road, it cost me 30 million. We would go, awesome, your impact fees would have paid for that. So you don't have to pay impact fees up to 30 million on just transportation. So then it'd be, they get 30 mil, whatever, divided by 4,000, they get, 20,000 trips that's credited to them. So they don't have to pay for 20,000 trips. Once they pass that, they start paying impact fees again.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilman Richardson.
Did Johnson go?
No, I'm good.
Okay, sorry, I don't mean to come back to impact fees, but I'm learning things here. So just so I can understand this, because impact fees sounds like they're one and done, but I'm asking this question, are impact fees separate from the TIA? So is that the TIA is a separate thing that has to be done by the developer, and then you find out, oh, this is what you have to do, and then on top of that, well, here's your impact fee. So is it a double dip, or are you guys just doing a one-time charge?
A TIA is just a study.
Okay, it's just a study.
It's just a study. So I'm gonna try to give it to you so say, you take a test for class.
Yeah.
You ace your test and the teacher goes, here's a candy bar, right? The test gave you the candy bar. The impact, the analysis is giving you your fee. This is what your fee is based on your.
You had to pay for the analysis.
They had to do their own analysis. We don't do they do it on their own.
They do it. Who's the developer?
Developer, yeah, they'll get a contractor, they'll get some company to go, hey, here's analysis. We look at it. We send it to review team. The review team looks at it and goes, yep, it's accurate, or no, it's not accurate.
Or do they have to pay an impact fee on top of that?
That tells them what their impact fee is.
So they pay for the transportation analysis, right?
They do it for that.
And then they find out, here's what you gotta pay. So you gotta pay some more now. So you pay for the homework to get done, and then you pay again.
No, it's not.
I'm just clarifying this.
No, so the impact is the homework they do, so they don't have to pay a bigger fee. So a lot of times
thank you.
We have a manual that says if you're an espresso store, here's how many trips you generate.
Yeah.
They can go, you know what, I don't agree with that. I'm gonna do my own analysis and study and show you what I'm gonna do. And then they do it. A lot of times a big developer will do its own impact analysis to show what the impact of doing.
So TIA is not required.
It is in certain projects. When they get to a certain amount, they have to do a TIA. A single home does not have to do a TIA.
So if they don't like what you say the impact fee is, it's like, time out. I'm gonna go get me a traffic impact or whatever.
A traffic impact analysis.
I'm gonna get this checked out just to prove that I'm gonna have a certain amount that I pay you.
Correct.
That could increase. And whether or not that gets done, there's always an impact fee.
Yeah, they have to pay an impact fee regardless of new trips they generate. And there has been times where we've told them you're gonna generate this many trips. They do an impact analysis and they go, actually, we're gonna generate more.
So then they had to.
They've done, and they have to pay what their impact analysis does. It's showing what they're
So
gonna.
then they did pay twice. So then they did pay twice.
Well, then they go, we don't believe you. We're actually generating more.
That's what I'm trying to say is, so let's just be honest. We get to the development, they have to pay for the traffic impact analysis. Dang, I shot myself in the foot. Looks like we generate more traffic. Hey, guess what? You have to pay for that. And now, since you did the analysis, now you have to pay more for your impact fee. Congratulations.
Everyone has to pay for impact fee. It doesn't change. The analysis doesn't change that. They do the analysis because they have to prove what they are affected on intersections.
What I'm saying is you pay for one thing. It's like, if I pay the traffic impact analysis, why do I already paid for this to prove, and then it's like, well, you gotta pay this too. It's kind of ugly.
If I may. When I do my taxes, I can do them myself, or I can pay an accountant to do the taxes for me. If I do them myself, I'm running a huge risk of really dropping the ball.
Can't take your own traffic.
But I can pay my accountant or tell me how much I have to pay and I properly pay it. And I think that's kind of.
It is very similar to that, where you have someone else telling you what you're gonna generate.
I think developers are just gonna get real pissed off and they're like, oh, I gotta do this. And then I found out, I gotta pay more.
They do it. It is everywhere, yeah. So when they come here, they know, like most of them already have it done before they even come to us. They go, here's our traffic impact. Oh, cool, thank you. They have to do it everywhere. It's not like Yelm is specific. They have, it's a very common thing that everyone has to do everywhere. So they're prepped for it. And then when they see our impact fee, they go, holy smokes, that's half the price of Olympia.
Like every
We go,
time-
you're welcome. And then they pay, they're happy to pay us.
It's this feeling every time you turn around, there's a handout asking for more money.
And I would say it's, we want developers to pay for the impact they're having on Yelm residents.
Yeah.
We don't want, this is the complaint you hear often from Yelm residents. Oh my gosh, they're coming to the city and they're not helping, they're just creating more traffic, they're not improving the road.
Yeah.
The impact fee is the catch-all. No, actually, they're paying impact fee, now we're able to build this road, now we're able to upgrade this intersection. Thank you, developer, for coming and paying these fees, so now we can upgrade these intersections. And I will tell you, 10 times out of 10, when a developer comes here and they see our fees, they go, holy smokes, you're the cheapest city we've ever worked with.
Cool.
So we constantly get that from big developers that come here. Any developer that comes here that's not just lived in Yelm their entire life and built in Yelm goes, holy smokes, you guys are the cheapest city to work with in terms of impact fees.
I can't do my own TIA.
You can, I just don't know if you have, I would be careful if you're not a traffic expert.
Cody, you have a lot more left, or?
No, I have one more slide.
Please, let's get to the next one.
Next slide. Questions?
We asked all the questions.
So the kind of the mission for it, it'll be kind of driven by the Public Service Committee is what do we prioritize? We kind of have a path forward that we've been given, but if it's something where council wants to adjust or change that, we've always been prioritizing transportation projects that help with traffic. And that's what we're gonna keep.
Just to recap on the activate alleyway, how did we get to that point where we're spending on other projects, prioritizing?
Yeah, so because of the growth explosion in Yelm that's happened, we want to make sure these traffic projects are done. A lot of them, when we planned them 4 or 5 years ago, pre-COVID, they have now more than, some of them even doubled in price because of just inflation alone. So we've gotten to a spot where we thought, where there wasn't enough money to do all these projects right now, we've got to pick which projects we got to do in order and then get to the other ones later. So.
Thank you very much, Cody. Any other final questions? No. All right. We are moving on to our last item of the night, comprehensive plan updates. Gary, take it away, please. All right. He's been waiting patiently for the last couple hours. Thank you, Gary.
Great job, Cody.
Survived your coughing storm.
More intimidated talking about comp plans after 2 hours of sitting in a study. So
that's the best.
But this is gonna be brief. This is just kind of a touch base presentation. Kind of let you know where we're sitting right now with the comp plan update. Maybe a little bit of refresher information for some of you who haven't been in some of the previous presentations on this, but go ahead. Thanks. So just again, the comp plan is a document used in long-term planning just to outline the community's vision for the next 20 years. It's not a regulation. It's more or less an umbrella document out of which a lot of other things are developed. So for example, the municipal code, a lot of times we will need to make findings. Is what you're proposing consistent with the city's comp plan? And zoning is a one example of that. The code itself, which establishes regulations, actually by law must be consistent with the goals and the policies of the comp plan. So this is just the overarching vision. Go ahead there. These are the chapters. Ooh, that yellow, I'm sorry. These are the chapters that are in the comp plan. Those are standard in comp plans throughout the entire state, any city that's planning under Growth Management Act. We do have one that is not normally in other comp plans, and it's actually not on, there it is, critical areas and environmental protection. That was an optional one that we put in there. But land use, housing, economic development, capital facilities, utilities, parks and rec, essential public facilities, and if you don't know what those are things that can be typically hard to locate. It could be anything from a wastewater treatment plant to fire station to a jail, those kinds of things. And then we have the brand new chapter that we're required to do this year, which is the climate change and resiliency. So why are we doing this? We're required to do it every 10 years. We have to do a comprehensive update. And I keep reiterating to the planning commission and others that comprehensive update doesn't mean we have to rewrite the plan. We basically just have to comprehensively review it to see if there are things in there that need to be updated. As it turns out, our 2017 plan has a lot of good stuff in it. So there's no reason to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think at that time, the last update, the city was working with the county on an effort called Sustainable Thurston. And a lot of the goals and policies that came out of that actually kind of anticipated some of the legislation that we've been hit with in the last 3 or 4 years. So we have a lot of goals and policies in our comp plan that were already there when some of this new legislation came out. Sorry about the color of those.
You just gotta squint.
Yeah. So these are kind of the two really big drivers, that we're looking at as far as this current update is concerned. So right now we're a population of about 11,000. We're projected to be 26,000 by 2045. So we're going to more than double over the next 20 years in population. And we're projected to need 7,500 new housing units by 2045. So that's, to keep pace, we would have to construct 375 new units per year.
We'll have the bypass done by then, yeah?
Yes, of course we will.
Yeah.
The answer is always yes to that. Some of the new legislative requirements, I'm not going to read these word for word.
Me too.
There's a lot of emphasis on multimodal transportation that came out in the recent legislation. So looking at ways to reduce vehicle travel miles and increase physical activity and make communities walkable and bicyclable and all of that. There's a whole multimodal component that we have to have in our transportation chapter. The top, or the third one on the top, is a big one. Housing is a huge part of our update because we've got all kinds of new housing legislation. We've talked about this in past work sessions before, but House Bill 1220 changed the Growth Management Act to say, rather than plan for housing, it says plan for and accommodate housing, and they put a ton of weight on what that accommodate means. So we had to do land capacity analysis based on our population and housing projections to see if the city has enough area, if it has the right kind of zoning. Anyway, all of those things will be addressed in the new housing chapter. Anything else in there we want to? Obviously, the newly required climate change. We had to go through a whole exercise that was legislatively mandated to develop anti-displacement policies. And I think when the former Mayor Tumwater was here, he was talking about, for example, there's kind of a recent trend of private companies buying up old manufactured home parks and raising rents and people losing, their housing, at least in those manufactured parks. And so looking at policies that could forestall those kinds of things happening. I mean, obviously we don't have control over everything, but we can have certain kinds of policies to help with rehabilitation, et cetera. Okay, just a little bit. We've actually done more than this, but just some of the outreach that's gone on when we first sort of really kicked things off. We met with the Nisqually tribe. I've reached out to them on a couple of different occasions since that initial meeting. We met at the tribal center. We conducted local business meetings. And despite sending out lots of outreach letters, those were not particularly well attended, but we make our efforts to give people the opportunity to show up. Consultant presentation to Planning Commission in November. We had an open house, as you might recall. It was kind of a joint open house in February where the comp plan was presented there. And then just throughout 25, we've had several presentations to the council and planning commission, primarily on the bigger chapters that we're dealing with. So the climate chapter, transportation, and the housing chapter. As you will recall, we had kind of a meeting where the council hosted the planning commission. And so we met jointly at the community center, and SCJ and Confluence and TRPC presented there. This one has been kind of cool. So we do now have a link on the main webpage for people to get updates on the comp plan and to look at current drafts of the comp plan chapters. And then we posted the notice of the availability, of this link on Facebook. And so far we've had over 4,000 views. It's been shared 44 times. There is a transportation survey that's on the comp plan webpage. So far, 17 of those surveys have been completed. And then, and I do not know what the results of those are yet because the consultant who's running the survey has to compile them for us to get them to us. But I have a pretty good idea of probably what a lot of the comments will be, as you probably all do as well. And then we're going to share that post again on Facebook because I was really shocked at how many people have engaged with it. Yeah.
So I know when they presented for the planning commission and the city council, they only had it as a concept, but now it actually looks like the comp plan is a requirement in the House Bill 1220. Is that now required?
So House Bill
they altered
just addresses a certain part of the comp plan.
Right.
But that had a bunch of different things in it, actually. There are a bunch of housing things in there.
So what I'm asking is, because at that meeting, it wasn't necessarily a requirement, it was more of a suggestion. So now have they changed the 1220 and amended it to having to do this whole climate change thing?
We've always had to require the comp plan though.
Okay.
That's always been a requirement.
Yeah, the climate change wasn't in that particular bill. That's a whole other House bill, but
then it's now
it is required. The climate change is required. We had to do, we did get a $500,000 grant to do it, but we had to do a greenhouse gas inventory for the city and develop an actual climate chapter for the comp plan.
But that's how they give you good giant grants, is require you to do certain things, then you go apply for the grant. So that's cool.
It was a non-competitive grant. I mean, all we had to do is say we wanted it.
It's $400,000 or $500,000.
Councilor Wood?
Curious what you said you had to get this grant to do a study about greenhouse gas emissions here in the city. Is that what you said?
Yeah, every city was required to do.
What did that consist of at best?
We've had a presentation on it.
Yeah, we had a I would rather have the consultant tell you how they did it because it was really. But yeah, it's an inventory. So they look at basically your transportation in the city, the types of businesses you have, the types of emissions they probably create. And then there's a model that they use, which, yeah, every city was required to do it.
Councilmember Johnstone.
So are the drafts that are on the website, those have all been reviewed by the planning commission?
Next slide. All chapters of the
has been reviewed by the planning commission. I'm just.
It's been given to them to review. Some have reviewed them more than others.
Yes.
Yeah, we've given them every chapter. Complete draft is, so we've gone through it with the planning commission pretty much one chapter at a time. Sometimes we might do 2 or 3 if they're very short chapters. The next step is all of those chapters going to be combined. And we're going to come back to the planning commission for one more bite at the apple. So it's kind of looking like this. We have to send a copy of our draft to Department of Commerce because they review it to make sure it's compliant with everything that we're supposed to be doing in terms of legislative updates primarily. Full draft will go to planning commission this month. SEPA review, which that's just another required process that we have to do. And then November dates are not final yet, but we would like to have a planning commission workshop / open house and a public hearing in December, and then bring the plan to the council after a public hearing. Technically, the deadline is December 30th for completing comp plans. But if the council wants more time to have, again, more engagement with the comp plan, if we go into January or February, that's not really an issue at all.
So,
Go ahead, Richards.
So completing these comp plans in a good time, does that make us more available for grant money?
Yes, I mean, that's a kind of a two-pronged question. What really gets jurisdictions out of whack with grant money is if you complete a comp plan which doesn't comply with the Growth Management Act. And there's an issue of the timeline, because Commerce is going to have our draft in October, so they will know what's in there.
Right.
And it's just a matter of the actual adoption date. So could you perhaps just pull up the webpage real quick? And that's my last thing. Just want to kind of show you.
And Councilmember Hess also had a question.
Oh, sure.
Yes, how can just for everybody who goes and looks at it, if they go, hey, I want to see something brought in about, let's say, environmental protection in critical areas, how can they make a suggestion of something to add?
Yeah, so the best way, which was part of the Facebook post and which is on the website, is to submit written comments to me directly. On mail.
Our webpage, Gary, the one you post on our.
If you go to the city's main page, because I want to navigate to the actual webpage.
Okay.
This is really quick.
Okay. We're on this page starting, but I'll go to the main page.
Oh, okay.
I can go to the main page so you can see.
Okay. I just kind of want to show you. So one thing I do wish was a little different about our main page is there's the arrow there. Like maybe you can put something like click the arrow because there's more stuff behind here. And I've had some comments on that. But anyway, there's the link. So you go to the, yeah, if you could scroll down now, Cody. So we've got some basic background information. There is a survey and we might want to maybe, well, we don't need.
Yep.
And then if you could go down, so draft comprehensive plan, do draft 1. So the last thing I want to show you is one thing that I feel pretty good about with this update is our last comprehensive plan was just all text. And so we wanted to make it more engaging and more user-friendly. So this is an example, for example, of the housing chapter. We've added photos and graphics. And if you could scroll down a little bit. So just to kind of show, you know, this is Tacoma Boulevard, of course. This is from a morning of driving around out there. To sort of put things in a more, you know, visually engaging kind of a format instead of just sentences, paragraphs, and what have you. So that's kind of what the overall look's going to be, and that's all I have right now.
Questions, comments?
When was this put up? On the website?
Some of this has been up for at least 4 or 5 weeks. We're putting it up as it comes in.
And draft 2 is, if we look at draft 1, look at draft 2 to see if it's been updated again. Draft 2 is the updated draft?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So a lot of the draft 1s are in track changes, if you use word much, and anyway.
Councilmember Richardson, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I'm not trying to be hard nosed at all. It just, when I understand how money gets to us and what the requirements are for us as a city to acquire that money, then I'm like, oh. And so when when they make you know, basically, if you do this climate study, we will grant you, you can apply for this grant. And so I'm glad you guys did that.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't know if it's a rebellion in me. I don't like people telling me in order to do this, you must do this. And I get that. I get you got to do things, but at the same time, it's a specific thing that has to do with climate change. And I feel like a lot of times that's pushed and imposed upon some people who might not necessarily believe those things.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so I mean, this was definitely a requirement by law that we do it. So I think that's why they made the money available, because we're making you do it. So here's the money to go out and do it.
Fair enough.
Which they don't always do. A lot of them, they're unfunded mandates where they say, pay for this, do this, and we have to come up with our own money, so.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments? Gary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Hard job.
All right, moving on to mayor's report. I don't have anything. Moving on to council member initiatives. Does anyone have a council member initiative? Councilmember S?
Just because of a lot going on and how we gain our money is through house sales a lot. One of the things, I came across a very interesting economic report, and the individual from some of the people that recommended reading the article, they said he was pretty accurate about 2008 timeframe, what happened. He did the studies, and he said that only 70% of the homes right now in the United States are at the 4% or below mortgage rate. Reference to ownership of other homes, about 30% are at the 6% and higher. And so at this time, his prediction is you're not going to see a lot of house sales going, because the people who would sell a house would have to jump to a higher mortgage rate. And so that's something that we probably should be aware of. If you track things like that, you might want to kind of keep an eye, because that will give us an idea of future funding, what we're looking at. Because if houses aren't selling, that means REITs not coming in, houses being developed, and then all of a sudden, if they're not selling, the developer, developing. So just wanted to share that in case nobody, I mean, as I said, it's just for me, I get a lot of stuff to read these days, and that was a really interesting article. I'll try to find it again and share it with everybody if I can. But as I said, he came highly recommended on this as somebody who in 2008 kind of predicted what was about to happen.
Okay, so thank you. Other initiatives? All right, seeing none, we're adjourned.